Problems are faced head-on, and love deepens. Red Heart, the emotional safe space. A man with emotional intelligence becomes her emotional home. She doesn't have to filter herself. She feels free to express, explore, and even be vulnerable, because she knows he won't judge, dismiss, or abandon her. When a woman feels emotionally safe, her guard drops. Her affection grows. Her desire for you intensifies. She doesn't just like you, she respects you. That's a game changer. Firepower tips to build emotional intelligence. Practice active listening. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Truly hear her. Name emotions. Learn to say things like, listening. I'm feeling frustrated. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. You seem overwhelmed. Truly hear her. It shows awareness. Name emotions. Stay calm. Practice active listening. I'm feeling frustrated. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Your ability to truly hear her. It shows awareness. Name emotions. And respond. Stay calm. Practice elevate you. I'm feeling frustrated. Don't just wait for your turn. Be curious. Your ability to truly hear her. Ask questions. Shows emotion. Try to understand. Stay calm. Practice elevate you. I'm feeling frustrated. Your emotional intelligence. Your ability to truly hear her. Shows emotion. Try to understand. Stay calm. Practice elevate you. I'm feeling frustrated. Your emotional intelligence. Your ability to truly hear her. Shows emotion. Try to understand. Stay calm. Practice emotional intelligence. Your emotional intelligence. Your ability to truly hear her. Shows emotion. Try to understand. Stay calm. Practice emotional intelligence. Your emotional intelligence. Your ability to truly hear her. Shows emotion. Try to understand. Stay calm. Practice emotional intelligence. Your emotional intelligence. Face what confidence actually means. Is quiet power. Arrogance is loud insecurity. One draws her in, the other pushes her away. Confident men speak with clarity. Arrogance is loud, accept feedback without one draws her in, the other pushes her away, and take responsibility for that. Speak with clarity. Laugh at the arrogance is instead of trying to accept feedback without one draws her in, the other pushes her away, and take responsibility for that. Speak with clarity. Laugh at the arrogance is instead of trying to accept feedback without one draws her in, the other pushes her away, and take responsibility for that. Speak with clarity. Laugh at the arrogance is instead of trying to accept feedback without one draws her in, the other pushes her away, and take responsibility for that. Speak with clarity. Laugh at the arrogance is instead of trying to accept feedback without one voice tone. Promises builds deep attraction. Handling rejection gracefully. When you can hear no and keep your self-respect, you show true inner strength. Even small acts, like ordering without hesitation or standing your ground respectfully in a conversation, signal to her that you're not seeking approval. You're simply being you. High-heeled shoe, why women melt for confident men. Confidence is contagious. When you believe in yourself, she feels safer and more energized around you. It's not about dominance, it's about stability. And here's a bonus. Confidence frees her to relax. When you lead with certainty, she doesn't have to carry the emotional load of guessing what you're thinking or where you stand. That mental and emotional clarity, that's pure chemistry. Rocket how to build real confidence if you don't feel it yet. Stack small wins. Confidence is built, not born. Start by showing up for yourself every day. Get comfortable with discomfort. Try new things. Speak up. Stretch your limits. Surround yourself with positive people. Confidence thrives in environments that support growth. Keep promises to yourself. Discipline is a secret confidence booster. When you trust yourself, others do too. Brain final takeaway. Confidence doesn't mean being perfect. It means being secure enough to be imperfect and still walk with your head held high. So if you want to trigger one of the deepest female attractions, stop trying to be someone else. Start becoming someone you're proud of. Because once you own who you are, flaws and all, she won't just notice. She'll remember you. Sign number 3. You text her nonstop for a week, then disappear. You compliment her today, but ignore her tomorrow. Want to know what women hate even more than lies? Inconsistency. Why consistency is so attractive to women. Consistency is reliability in action. It's when your words match your actions over time. In a world full of mixed signals and emotional games, a man who shows up again and again becomes irresistible. Here's what consistency signals to a woman. You're emotionally stable. You're intentional, not playing games. She can let her guard down with you. You become a safe space in a world that often makes her question everything. And safety, for a woman, is the foundation of desire. Brain what inconsistency actually tells her. Most guys don't realize this, but when you're hot one day and cold the next, she doesn't think he's busy. She thinks he's not serious. He's talking to other girls. I can't trust him. Even if you like her, being inconsistent tells her the opposite. Worse, inconsistency forces her into defense mode. She starts to overthink, withdraw emotionally, or play games to protect herself. Not because she wants to, but because your signals confused her system. Repeat button, what consistency looks like in simple terms. You don't need to be a robot. Just be reliable. Texting, you don't need to message constantly. Just don't vanish for 3 days without context. Plans, if you say you'll call, call. If you say you'll show up at 8, show up. Tone, don't be sweet and warm today, then cold and sarcastic tomorrow. Affection, keep giving her attention after you've won her, not just when you're trying to. Consistency isn't about being predictable. It's about being dependable. There's a big difference. Speech balloon real-life scenario. Let's say you've been dating her for a few weeks. Things are going great. Then suddenly your texts slow down and she's left wondering, did something change? If you're consistent, you'll say something like, hey, work's been intense this week. I'm a little off the radar, but I'm thinking about you. Let's catch up Friday. That one message keeps the connection alive. No guessing, no stress. You remain in her mind as solid and sincere. Broken heart, the truth most men avoid. Inconsistency is often a sign of indecision or insecurity. Guys sometimes back off to keep her interested. But this backfires. Women don't chase confusion. They chase clarity. A woman doesn't need you to be perfect. She needs you to be present. If you're unsure, she'll feel it. If you're committed, she'll trust it. White heavy check mark, how to be more consistent without feeling fake. Know your intentions. If you're unsure about her, don't lead her on. Honesty is consistency. Create emotional habits, a good morning text, a weekly date night. Emotional rhythm builds trust. Communicate expectations. If life gets busy, tell her. It's not about always being available. It's about staying connected. Keep your promises, even small ones. They add up, and show her you mean what you say. Brain final takeaway. A woman's heart is like a flower. It only blooms in safe, consistent sunlight. If you're on and off, hot and cold, she'll close up. But if you show up again and again, without disappearing, ghosting, or flipping your vibe, she'll open up to you in ways that go far beyond surface-level attraction. Because when you're consistent, you become irresistible. Sign no 4. She's dated the handsome guy. She's talked to the rich guy. But the one she still thinks about is the guy who made her laugh when she didn't even want to smile. Why humor is a secret weapon in attraction. Laughter does something that no car, cologne, or compliment ever could. It makes her feel good in the moment. And emotions are how women connect. A man who can make her laugh is doing more than being funny. He's showing that he's emotionally intelligent, comfortable in his own skin, creative and spontaneous, free from ego. And when she's around that energy, she lets her guard down fast. Collision humor builds connection. Here's the truth. Humor isn't just about cracking jokes. It's about shared experiences. Inside jokes, teasing, playfully, and making light of awkward situations make her feel close to you. Why? Because laughter bonds. In fact, studies show that couples who laugh together stay together longer. That's not a coincidence, it's science. Laughter lowers stress, increases attraction, and even boosts dopamine levels, the feel-good chemical. So if you're funny, you're not just fun, you're addictive. Brain, what kind of humor works best? You don't have to be a stand-up comic. The goal isn't to entertain, it's to connect. Here are humor styles women love. Playful teasing, light jokes that show confidence and personality. Witty comebacks, intelligent banter shows you're mentally sharp. Situational humor, laughing at the world around you, not just rehearsed jokes. Self-deprecating, laughing at yourself without killing your own image, shows humility and charm. Avoid crude or offensive jokes, especially early on. Humor that puts others down. Trying too hard to be funny 24/7. Timing is everything. Direct hit real-life example. Let's say you're on a date and she spills her drink. The average guy might get flustered or awkward. You say, well, now that we've baptized the table, should we name it or start a new religion? It's unexpected, it's quick, and it turns a clumsy moment into a shared laugh, which means chemistry. Or when she's talking about her day and you add a funny little exaggerated comment about your own, it lightens the mood. It keeps things easy, effortless, and fun. Light bulb why humor is a female weakness. When a woman laughs with you, she associates you with happiness. Her brain literally connects your presence with emotional release. It's also a form of social proof. If you can joke around, make people laugh, and not take yourself too seriously, you show her that you're confident, likable, and in control. That makes her feel safe and excited around you. Chart increasing how to improve your sense of humor. Be observant. Funny people notice details others miss. Start watching your surroundings. Practice timing. A good joke is all about when you say it, not just what you say. Watch comedians, not just for jokes, but rhythm, how they pause, change tone, or twist expectations. Loosen up. Humor flows when you're not overthinking. Relax and be in the moment. Brain final takeaway of sign no 4 is, looks might catch her eye, but laughter captures her heart. A man who can make her feel joy becomes unforgettable. So the next time you're worried about saying the right thing, say something funny instead. Because if you can make her laugh, you're already halfway to her heart. Sign no 5. She'll flirt with a fun guy. She might date the good-looking guy, but she'll fall for the man with purpose, the one who's going somewhere. What ambition really means to women. Let's make one thing clear. Women aren't attracted to rich guys. They're attracted to driven guys. Why? Because ambition signals direction, passion, purpose, progress. A man with drive doesn't need to be a millionaire. He just needs to be moving forward, focused, committed to growth. That's what women deeply respect. And that respect often turns into desire. Brain the psychology behind her attraction to ambition. Ambition taps into a woman's biological and emotional wiring. It tells her, this man has goals. He creates security. He's not waiting for life to happen. He's making it happen. If I align with him, we grow together. In relationships, women don't want a man they have to drag forward. They want a man they can follow and support, because his vision inspires them too. And even beyond relationships, being around an ambitious man elevates her own standard for life. Fire ambition doesn't mean hustle 24/7. This is important. Being driven doesn't mean you're always working or grinding. It means you have a clear direction in life, are passionate about something bigger than yourself. Refuse to stay stagnant. Ambition can look like building a business, growing your skills, training for a goal, being a leader in your community. It's not the size of the dream. It's the consistency in chasing it. Compass real-life scenario. Let's say you're not rich, famous, or a CEO, but you're working 2 jobs to fund your own startup or save for travel. You talk to her about your ideas, your vision, what you're building. That's attractive, because you're not just surviving, you're creating. You have momentum, you have drive, and that's the kind of energy women crave. They don't need a man who has it all. They want a man who's on his way. Chart decreasing what lack of ambition signals. The opposite of ambition is stagnation, and nothing turns a woman off faster. When you don't have a direction, you seem passive or uncertain. She starts to feel like she has to lead the relationship. The future looks boring or unstable. And it's not about success. It's about effort. Even small steps toward a goal can excite her, as long as you're moving with intention. Hammer and wrench, how to cultivate ambition, even if you feel stuck. Set one clear goal, no matter how small. Direction beats perfection. Take action daily. Small, consistent effort builds momentum and confidence. Surround yourself with growth-minded people. Ambition is contagious. Talk about your vision. Share your goals with her, not to brag, but to inspire. When she sees that you're constantly evolving, she feels inspired to grow with you. Brain final takeaway of sign number 5. Ambition isn't about being at the top. It's about refusing to stay at the bottom. A man with drive doesn't just capture a woman's attention. He earns her admiration, her support, and her trust. So no matter where you are right now, just keep moving forward. Because that motion, that's magnetic. Sign no 6. You were taught to be tough, silent, and emotionless. But what if I told you that the one thing you've been hiding is the very thing that could pull her closer than ever before? What vulnerability really means and what it doesn't. Let's clear the air. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's not whining, oversharing, or dumping all your trauma on her in the first week. True vulnerability is the courage to show emotion without shame, the confidence to say, I don't have all the answers, the strength to let her see the real you, not just the highlight reel. When you let a woman see you, beyond the surface, she feels emotionally connected. That emotional closeness is what creates deep attraction, the kind that lasts far beyond first impressions. Light bulb why women are drawn to vulnerable men. Vulnerability makes you relatable, real, human. And in a world of fake personas and filtered perfection, a man who is genuinely himself is a breath of fresh air. When you express vulnerability, women see that you're emotionally available, that you trust her enough to be real, that you're confident in your own imperfections. This triggers one of her deepest instincts, connection. Brain vulnerability signals confidence, not weakness. Here's the twist. It actually takes more strength to be open than it does to act tough. Anyone can pretend to be unaffected. But a man who can say, yeah, that hurt, but I'm growing from it, commands respect and admiration. Women don't want a stone-cold wall. They want someone who feels but doesn't fall apart. Someone who can express emotions without losing control. That balance? It's rare and deeply attractive. Magnifying glass tilted left real-life examples of healthy vulnerability. Sharing a personal story about a challenge you overcame. Admitting you're nervous about something instead of faking bravado. Saying, I'm not sure how I feel yet, but I want to talk about it. Telling her how much she means to you, without waiting for her to say it first. These moments may seem small, but they build emotional safety and trust, two of the strongest foundations for deep connection. Crossmark what not to do. Vulnerability is powerful, but only when balanced. Avoid oversharing too early, especially without emotional regulation. Using vulnerability to manipulate her sympathy. Being emotionally dependent on her approval or reactions. Think of it like seasoning. A little honesty and emotion. Flavorful. Too much too soon. Overwhelming. Wide heavy checkmark. How to develop healthy vulnerability. Practice self-awareness. Know your emotions before trying to share them. Start small. Share pieces of your story gradually. Let trust build. Own your emotions. Don't blame others. Speak from your experience. Be open, not fragile. Vulnerability is about openness, not emotional collapse. Over time, you'll build emotional muscle, the kind that lets you open up without unraveling. Brain final takeaway of sign number 6. A man who can say, here's who I am, and I'm not afraid for you to see it, is unstoppable in relationships. Because when you show her your real self, not just your strong self, she stops guessing. She starts trusting. And that trust, that's where real love lives. So next time you're tempted to act tough, try being real instead. She won't see it as weakness. she'll see it as strength. Most guys try to impress her with grand gestures, but still get left on read. Meanwhile, the man who simply notices her wins her heart without even trying. This is the final chapter in the top 7 female weaknesses every man must know. And if you've been skipping the small stuff, you're missing the biggest secret weapon of them all: attentiveness. What does being attentive mean? Attentiveness is more than just paying attention. It's the art of being present, aware, and intentional, especially when she isn't asking for it. It's remembering what she said in passing, picking up on her energy without her saying a word, caring about the little things most men ignore. When you're attentive, you're telling her, "You matter to me, even when I'm not trying to impress you." And that's powerful. Speech balloon: why attentiveness is a female weakness. Here's the truth. Most women are used to being overlooked. They're used to guys who listen only when it's convenient, who miss the emotional cues, who forget the small things, like her favorite snack, her upcoming meeting, or the story she told 2 days ago. So when a man actually notices those things, she doesn't just feel seen, she feels valued. And feeling valued is a gateway to emotional vulnerability, deeper connection, and even physical desire. Bullseye rule life examples that hit hard. She mentions she has a big presentation Thursday. On Thursday morning, you text, "You've got this. I'm proud of you." Simple, but unforgettable. She casually tells you she loves sunflowers. A week later, you surprise her with one. Not a bouquet, just one. Why? Because you remembered. She's unusually quiet during dinner. You don't push, but later, you ask gently, "You seemed a little off earlier. Everything okay?" These moments require no money, no grand plans, no performance, just awareness. And they land hard. Attentiveness is silent leadership. Here's what's wild. Attentiveness makes her feel emotionally secure. Why? Because you show her that she doesn't have to constantly repeat herself or beg for your attention. You notice. You care enough to stay tuned in. And when you lead that way, she relaxes into your presence. She trusts you. She opens up more. She connects deeper. Crossmark what most men get wrong: listening to respond instead of listening to understand. Checking out mentally during conversations. Thinking little things don't matter when they matter most. Attention isn't just about the words. It's about energy, presence, focus. When you give that freely, she feels emotionally prioritized, and that's rare. White have a check mark: how to become more attentive without being overbearing. Be present, put the phone down. Look into her eyes. Engage fully. Ask questions. Show curiosity about her day, her thoughts, her feelings. Keep a mental notebook. Make small mental notes of what she says, likes, or needs. Act on what you notice. Don't just listen, respond with intention. The more attentive you become, the more naturally she'll gravitate toward you. Not because you're chasing, but because you're tuned in. Final takeaway. A woman will forget the compliments you gave her, but she'll never forget how deeply you noticed her. Being attentive isn't about trying harder. It's about caring deeper. And when you do, she won't just feel attracted. She'll feel understood. And that, my friend, is everything. So stop waiting for the right words. Start paying attention. Because the man who listens with his eyes, heart, and soul is the one she'll never want to lose.